Well, I'll declare the meeting open. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of our former Mayor, Ken Hill, in the gallery, and the arrival of Councillor Jasmine Jones. We've got a call. Okay, would you like to join me on your feet, please, and we'll do the acknowledgement of country. I acknowledge that we are meeting on the ancestral land of the Ngunnawal people. I recognise the Ngunnawal as the traditional custodians and pay my respects to the elders of the community and their descendants. The prayer. Let us be still and remember the presence of God as we commence our meeting. Let us together pray for guidance and help. Almighty God, we ask your blessing upon this council, direct and prosper our deliberations to the true welfare of Australia and the people of Yass Valley. Amen. Thank you. Any declarations? Councillor Burgess.
Yeah, 9.1 and 10.1, Bango Wind Farm. I'm adjoining landowner in Bango Wind Farm and could receive financial gain. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor Burgess. Do we have any apologies? Okay. Confirmation of the minutes are circulated. Any questions, any comments?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I was asked last night to have a look at the minutes in relation to the rescission motion. I did review them. I would suggest that Council adopt the minutes with the following corrections, which are that immediately after the success of the rescission motion, the motion published in the business papers to record there was no mover or seconder, and that was what was listed as an amendment in the minutes that were published be recorded as a motion. It was moved by Councillor Jones and Councillor Reid, and that the third point is that the section that referred to amendment becoming a motion be deleted. Just going back over the tapes, that's exactly what happened. It was a misinterpretation on our behalf when we initially looked at the tapes.
Okay, someone like to move the adoption of the minutes? Councillor Abbey, we have a seconder. Councillor Reid. No discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare the motion carried. There's a mayoral minute.
Just before that, we've got the extraordinary meeting.
By the extraordinary meeting held on the
1st of September.
1st of September in relation to the dam wall. Someone like to move the adoption of the minutes as circulated? Councillor Abbey, Councillor Jones. Any discussion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare the motion carried. Okay, the mayoral minute. Any comments? Any discussion? Someone like to move the adoption of the recommendation? Councillor Reid, Councillor Potham. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare the motion carried. Flying along tonight. There must be something on.
Early days.
They call it, yeah, sorry.
6.1. It's the next one on the agenda, draft Southeast Table and Regional Plan. Councillor Cameron?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I have a question to ask, if I could please. Objective 4 there says in the plan to preserve the heritage and character of the region's towns and villages. I just wanted to make a comment before the question that recently Minister Christy McBain was asked at the Business Chamber meeting that was held this month how do we protect the character of Yass villages with the substantial growth coming out of Canberra? Which, when you think about it, is probably a great question. She replied that the most important way of doing this was via the council's development control plan, because this allows the community to have a real say on planning guidelines. In our case, our development control plan, if you go on the website, says in 2018 that we're working on it. And it still doesn't exist. So, and I think the year is 2022. And so the latest estimate of getting the development control plan done is the end of the financial year, this financial year. So still the best part of 9 months away. So my question is, in light of the Minister's comments, should we be moving more quickly on the development control plan? And should we be including in our draft to the planners of this that we are working on a development control plan?
Through you, Steph. Thank you for your question, councillor. The development control plan is slated to be completed in this financial year. As I've previously advised council, we are awaiting the completion of the engineering design manual to be able to complete the development control plan. I don't think it needs to be noted within our submission to the department on the draft plan that we're working on this. Development control plans are really a local matter for councils, and the draft plan is really focused on much broader, larger issues, and council's main concern around the draft plan relates to development around the ACT border and the provision of water supply to Yass Valley Council.
Thank you.
Councillor Reid.
I'll move the recommendation as a
Thank you.
motion.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Jones. I'll put the motion. You want to speak?
Just have a quick comment. Firstly, I'd like to
Susan
thank
Lyman.
the staff for doing the work that I thought I was going to have to do, and then didn't have to do it because you've already done it. So, look, I just want to thank you for that. It's good to see Yass, the suggestion of Yass actually being included on the map. That's a great start. I'm sure that all our friends in Murray Bateman would agree that they are the local centre, but Yass is also kind of relevant. I'd also like to point out that it's amazing what can be missed at the regional level, isn't it? That it's, I think, a terrific comment to make as we put the feedback up about our cultural events. They're so important to Yass Valley, and to not have things like, you know, Murray Bateman's moving feast and the Yass Wine Fest and even our just recent Irish and Celtic Music Festival just doesn't make sense when other areas do have their cultural events listed in this. So kudos to staff for putting this together, and I commend the motion. Thank you.
I'll put the motion then. All those in favour? Those against, declare it carried. 6.2, the Bookham Main Street Master Plan. Wonderful exercise in community engagement. Any comments?
Love it.
Councillor Cameron.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Just a sort of a question. There's a schedule of works there as you go through. Is that a sort of I'm just trying to clarify, is that a priority order of how things can be done? And is there any idea of a timeline?
Through you, Mr Mayor. Sorry, I'm just having a look at the schedule of works myself. I think, I don't think they're necessarily in priority order, because we will try and fit the projects around any grant opportunities that come up. And at this stage, look, we're just in early days, like council's adopting, hopefully adopting this tonight. And then this master plan will be finalised. And then I would start discussions with the Director of Infrastructure and Assets about how we're going to deliver that particular master plan.
Any other questions? Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Botham, Councillor Cameron. I put the motion, all those in favour? Those against, declare the motion carried. 6.3. Work Health and Safety Improvement Plan, there is a recommendation. Any questions? Councillor Ray.
Yeah, through you, Mr Mayor, I have a couple of questions that relate to the attachment for this by the consultant, John McDish. It says on page 37 of the attachment, makes a comment that Yass Valley Council does not currently have a WHS framework or an integrated program. I was just wondering why we didn't have that framework in the past. That's my first of two questions.
Thank you, Councillor Raby.
Through you, Mr Mayor, I can't answer that question. That's why we went through the process of developing one.
Okay, thank you. Then my second question is on page 42 of that report. It talks about goal 3, WHS goal 3, which is, and I'll read it out, fit for purpose, comma, plant, comma, workplaces and facilities. My question is, given the condition of the council premises, will the Yass Valley Council offices as they are now be ever fit for purpose as a workplace?
Through you, Mr Mayor, I can answer that one. No. That's why we're doing a redevelopment, well, we're proposing to do a redevelopment of the site. I've just been speaking with the planners. They've putting the finishing touches to the DA assessment that, for the redevelopment of this site. Put some draft conditions forward for consideration by the Joint Regional Planning Panel.
And I noticed that the Act used a nice turn of phrase, continuous improvement, so I guess if we can demonstrate some improvement, even if we're coming off a low base. Thank you.
Quick question through you, Mr. Mayor. If we endorse this plan tonight, what are the budget implications in terms of, I would imagine we need to hire a manager and a high-level manager in order to implement it and oversee it ongoing in every budget going forward. What's that going to look like? Or are we going to retrain and shuffle tasks within our organisational structure?
Through you, Mr Mayor, yes, it will require a manager WHS, and we are doing some minor realignments in the corporate and community to incorporate that into our structure.
So from the budget.
So there will be no budget impact.
Councillor Cameron.
Yes, through you, Mr Mayor. I find that the report is quite a good report, but my question relates to the fact that there's a recommendation for 2 positions to be created. A change manager, which sounds quite interesting, who is going to be in charge of projects, significant projects, and reporting monthly to the executive, and a manager of work health and safety. So my question is, will there be appointments to both positions, the change manager and the manager for work health and safety as recommended by this report? And what is the timeline for the appointments?
Through you, Mr Mayor, the manager WHS will be advertised as soon as our recommendation is approved. The change manager, a culture change manager, will be incorporated in part of a structure review over the next 2 to 3 years. However, I can advise that the executive team are working with the leadership team to already start a change process.
Councillor Reid.
I'll move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Councillor Cameron, seconded.
Yeah, I'd like to move an amendment, please.
Okay.
I'll read it out slowly. So it's at the third point. The suggested amendment is that an update on the implementation of the Work Health and Safety Improvement Plan. I'll go through that again. That an update on the implementation of the Work Health and Safety Improvement Plan be provided to Council every 3 months.
Through you, Mr Mayor, this is effectively an operational plan. It's about how we manage our staff in our workplaces, which is my responsibility. But certainly we would be bringing updates through the normal briefing papers that we provide to councillors in regards to the actions that we've taken. So rather than bringing it directly to council, you'll be getting monthly updates through that existing process that we've got currently in place for you.
Through you, Mr Mayor. I'm just a little bit concerned. I think my major concern is that we seem to be having a lot of difficulty in filling gaps and getting people into positions and even holding them because of other circumstances which we've discussed in the past. I'm just a little bit concerned that if we don't get the manager for work health and safety fairly quickly, this could slide. And I'm sort of a bit anxious about trying to make sure that we are informed about that sort of process.
Through you, Mr Mayor, councillors don't need to be anxious. I need to be anxious. As I said, this is an operational plan.
Right.
Responsibility for workplace health and safety rests, the buck stops with me, and it's my neck on the chopping block if anything goes wrong. So certainly it's high on my agenda to make sure that we do a recruitment process, and if we can't fill, look at options such as contractors, or even looking at higher duties for existing people in the organisation. So certainly we won't be ignoring this. The reason for getting it endorsed tonight is to make sure that we can proceed quickly with plugging some of the gaps that have been identified through this report.
So do you want to persist with your amendment, Councillor Cameron?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, I'll say
Do we
yes.
have a seconder?
Looks like I've missed out
In the
again.
absence of a seconder, we'll go back to the recommendation. Councillor Reid moved the recommendation. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Potter. Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare the motion carried. So we're on to 6.4, the investment and borrowings report. Recommendation is that it be noted. Any comments? Any questions? Someone like to move the recommendation? Councillor Burgess, Councillor Abbey. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Five, disclosures by designated persons. There is a recommendation. Should be noted. Councillor Reid.
I'll move the recommendation as motion.
Thank you, Councillor Reid. Councillor Potham. Any discussion, any questions?
Just a question on accessibility for the public. It's my understanding this is placed on a register of returns. Is this a paper document or is this an online document? And if it's not an online document, when could it be an online document?
Through Mr Mayor, basically what we do is all of these declarations are stored in our electronic management system, but we are obliged to make them publicly available. Certainly I think the last audit that was done indicated that we weren't publishing them on our website and we should be. So that's something that will come out of this particular round.
Okay, everyone happy? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare it carried. 6.6, the December meeting date. There is a recommendation. Councillor Burgess. The seconder, Councillor Reid. No discussion. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare it carried. Six, 7, Oswald Street, Gundaroo, petition. Again, we have a recommendation. Councillor Burgess.
Through Mr Mayor, I was hoping to actually see the petition as it's apparently being tabled today.
Is that a
Pass it
close
to
range?
Councillor Jones.
I'm sure it complies with the policy, but I just wanted to say that I've laid eyes on it. Does it meet our minimum number of signatures for a petition? Thank you.
It's compliant.
Okay.
Just through Mr Mayor, just under our policy on petitions, they get tabled at a council meeting. But basically, the issues that are raised in the submission get addressed through the assessment of the development application, which will be coming back to council.
Okay, who moved that motion? Councillor Burgess and Councillor Reid. I'll put the motion, all those in favour? Those against, declare the motion carried. 6-8.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, happy to move that to confidential.
Thank you, Councillor Jones. Do you have a seconder, Reid?
Along with 6.9 to follow.
Thank you so much. Two birds with one stone.
Yes.
Put the motion, all those in favour? Those against, declare it carried. Okay, minutes, 9-1, Bango Wind Farm. There's a recommendation.
Thank you.
Councillor Burgess leaving the room in accordance with his declaration.
Yeah, I'll move those.
Should be Councillor Abbey. Seconder?
Second.
Councillor Reid. Any questions, any discussion? I'll put the motion, all those in favour? Those against, declare it carried.
Councillor Burgess back.
I hope it didn't go far.
Sometimes it can go.
There wasn't the toilet stop. In the minute.
Councillor Burgess returned to the chamber, intact. Minutes of the Youth Council held on the 8th of December. There is a recommendation. Councillor Potham, any comments? Councillor Reid?
Oh, just through you, Mr. Mayor, just to say it was a fantastic meeting. We've got some designs for a Youth Council logo and the Youth Council voted on that. We've just got a couple of minor changes so that it's something that's very readable, like on the back of a jumper or a t-shirt. But they're pretty excited about where this is going, and yeah, it was a great meeting.
Thanks very much, Councillor Potham. Prepared to vote, any other questions? Any other comments? I'll put the motion, all those in favour? Those against, declare the motion carried. Item 10, confidential matters.
Move in a second to close the meeting.
Yeah, we have to now go into closed session.
Yep.
Councillor Potham. Councillor Jones. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Those against? Declare the motion carried. See you later, Ken.
Okay. 10-1.